The man was running. He was out of breath and his chest was exploding from the need for oxygen. In one hand, he held a candle. The other hand was shielding it from the rush of air as his legs hurriedly carried him through the darkened hallways. It was 2:45 a.m., and he had been moving from hiding spot to hiding spot in the mansion since midnight. Despite every attempt to keep the candle from going out, every time he tried to relight the candle, it would flicker and then snuff out as if an invisible pair of lips had puffed it away. Whenever the flame extinguished, he fumbled for his matches and began to count to 10. 10 seconds was all that he had to get that candle burning again, or he would need to take the necessary steps to protect himself. But he was finding that whatever was chasing him wanted that tiny beacon to go out. It wanted the ritual to fail. It wanted him to look in its eyes. He had one match left and 45 minutes to go before the end of the game, and the odds were not in his favor. He dashed from the hallway into the large kitchen and down into the cellar. The cellar under this old home was huge, a labyrinth of brick walls and rooms, a dirt floor underfoot, and the smell of mildew in the stale air. Turning another corner, his foot caught the wall and he fell forward, the candle flying out of his hands and onto the damp, dirty floor. It rolled before resting upside down against the opposite wall, extinguishing itself. Before the candle had even hit the floor, the man had begun counting. 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000. Even in the pitch black of the cellar, he had found the candle. 4 1,000, 5 1,000. He scrambled for the matches in his pocket. 6 1,000, 7 1,000. He struck the match, but it did not light. 8 1,000, 9 1,000. The match would not light. The candle would not save him this time. He grabbed for the large vial of salt in his other pocket. Hurriedly, he poured a circle of it around him in the pitch black and sat down facing the wall. Hunched towards the ground, he looked only at the floor in front of him. He could not see it in the dark, but it was better than the alternative. He had set the alarm on his phone for 3:30 a.m. The rules were clear. Candlelight only. Nothing else was allowed. The first sounds of his opponent were the light scratching sounds as if long fingernails were being raked across the far walls of the basement. The sound was getting closer, along with the stealthy sound of footprints on the earth floor of the basement. The hair raised on his neck. Sweat exploded from his pores. The shuffling approached him from around the corner and stopped, right behind him. For what seemed like forever, there was nothing. Just the dead silence and stink of the old basement. Then mere inches from his ear, a deep, raspy voice softly said, "Found you." His heart was in his throat. The whole of his body was trembling violently. He was safe in the circle. Less than 45 minutes to go. Less than 45 minutes to go. You've heard about them online, and possibly even been foolish enough to play one yourself. They belong to a unique subset of urban legends that have found their history not only passed down through word of mouth, but most prominently since the dawn of the internet in the many hidden and dark corners of the web. I am, of course, talking about paranormal ritual games. Games like the Charlie Charlie Challenge, the Elevator Game, the Midnight Game, and the infamous Dry Bones have been pretty prominent in the creepypasta world and here on YouTube as well. Now, some of these rituals appeared on the web as early as 2003 and perhaps earlier. The most famous of the games in this genre are ones that everybody has heard of, I'm sure. Of course, I'm talking about the notorious Bloody Mary, Light as a Feather, Stiff as a Board, and the Ouija. Famous for bringing midnight entertainment at many a slumber party, these three games by themselves have generated enough nightmare fuel to power many a legend, horror movie, and the like. They, however, pale in comparison to some of the paranormal ritual games mentioned above, as well as the many others that haunt the internet. Today, we will talk briefly about a few of these games and explore why there may be more behind these rituals than just healthy imaginations. My name is Rick, and again, welcome to Shuddersome Undoings, Introduction to Sinister Sacraments. The tradition of storytelling has been around since man uttered his first words, and even before then. It's how we've been blessed with such great tales as Beowulf, Homer's Odyssey, and the adventures of John Carter's of Mars. In modern times, horror masters such as H.P. Lovecraft, Stephen King, and Clive Barker brought their own legends to life, and the mythos of each of these men have created is cemented into the minds of dedicated fans of the horror genre. Now, creepypastas are one of the newest forms of storytelling, and they've brought us such beloved abominations as Jeff the Killer, the Smiling Man, Siren Head, and good old Slendy. A new generation of storytellers have taken to such platforms as Twitter and Reddit to scare the living shit out of us. We aren't just talking about monsters. Some of my favorite paranormal creepypastas are The Russian Sleep Experiment, Ted the Caver, and SuicideMouse.avi, which I've posted links to in the descriptions below. Now make sure you don't read or watch these before you go to bed, or you're going to hate my guts. Now, among the monsters and supernatural forces in the creepypasta world, probably the most intriguing and terrifying are the paranormal ritual games. Now, they've permeated the internet and social media for years now, daring the brave and stupid, or a mix of both, to put themselves in supernatural jeopardy for some sort of reward, known or unknown, or merely for the thrill of it. They've actually kind of become the extreme sports of the shadow world, except the safety gear is cheaper and the rituals have a higher learning curve. So, some background. One night about a year ago, I was watching YouTube, of course, and I saw a group of people on a channel not worth remembering trying to do the Midnight Game. Now, if you're not familiar with this ritual, you're basically playing a game of high-stakes hide-and-seek with a supernatural entity known as the Midnight Man. You keep moving from 12 midnight until 3:30 a.m. trying to avoid the specter. Now, you know he's near if your candle flickers and goes out. And then you then have 10 seconds to get it lit again, or you have to pour a circle of salt around you and sit in it looking at the ground until 3:30 a.m. when the game is over. Now, if you don't manage to set the circle of salt and get your butt sat down in the middle of it, then the story goes that the Midnight Man will do one of a smorgasbord of horrible things, including, but not limited to, disembowelment, decapitation, or causing you to face your worst fear over and over and over again until you're a broken shell of a human being. Now, these guys I watched doing the ritual went through all of the preparatory steps and then just cast a circle of salt and sat in it. Now, I'm not going to tell you that nothing happened, but nothing happened. And it wouldn't. In a case like that, with someone trying to do a ritual that way, you can't convince them of anything. It's like trying to reason with a flat earther. It's a waste of time and ultimately unsatisfying. So, I decided right then and there that I was going to start a channel that featured, among other things, creepypasta rituals done right, or as best I can do them. Now, since there are many different methods of doing the same ritual, if you're interested in the topic and gutsy enough to try one of these games, I highly suggest 2 resources from the same place. Now, first of all, there is no better source anywhere on this subject matter than on the website theghostinmymachine.com, run by Lucia Peters. The link is below in the introduction. Now, this lady knows her shit, and and I have never seen a better resource, as I said before, on the subject matter anywhere. She does all the research from tracking down the origins of these rituals to the proper performance, safety measures, and the consequences if you fudge up. Now also, she has a book out on the subject matter, and yes, I am going to plug this for her because it's fantastic. Dangerous Games to Play in the Dark. I highly recommend this, guys. You can purchase this on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or other sources she lists on her websites. Get one. Get it now. Get one. Now, scores of these games/rituals have clearly been the inventions of creative minds on the online community, while others, such as the Midnight Game and the Runner, have histories that are up for debate as their origins. Now, in any case, they are all terrifying, and most have a supposed terrible price to pay if you lose, which in some ways may be the appeal. Not that I understand that, but I mean, people eat Tide Pods, so why not put your sanity and soul on the line for a thrill, huh? All of this put aside, however, it doesn't mean you might not get something out of these games, besides nightmares. If you haven't seen my video on the case of Olivia Maybell, I highly recommend it because I talk about the idea of tulpas or thought forms there. Now, real quick, the concept is that if an individual or individuals purposely put enough belief and intention into an idea or actual being, then they can manifest that being or idea through pure force of will. Now, sometimes this happens accidentally too. An example I've given before is that of a child's imaginary friend who might not be so imaginary, and that's because the child believes so strongly that their friend is real that in some aspects that friend does become real. Now, this is how the basic concept of magic, spelled with a K, works. State your intention and will it into existence. These ideas also apply to the general public at large. I mean, if enough people were to begin to believe in something, then magical theory suggests that that idea, concept, or actual being might be able to manifest in some tangible way. Now, we'll talk more about this in the one-man hide-and-seek ritual, and I'll give you some examples, but for now, let's just say that if you believe it strongly enough, maybe it can be real. So, with this concept in mind, just because these creepypasta paranormal ritual games may be made up, does not mean that it's not possible to get some kind of result. Now, Sinister Sacraments will be my channel section where I play these game rituals and play them under the most controlled environments possible. Now, I do this to gather any potential data. Now, I will say right here that I do not claim that any of the events that take place during these rituals are paranormal in nature, and that these game rituals are for entertainment purposes only. Now, if you choose to try one of these, do so at your own peril. And don't blame old Rick if your soul winds up in a jar on some demon's shelf somewhere. I'm just saying. Now, with all of that being said, the first ritual game in my next video is going to be the one-man hide-and-seek. Now, I've already filmed the event, and I was hesitant to release the video earlier because I'm truly not sure what to make of what happened. Just be honest. And full disclosure, guys, magic spelled with a C, card manipulation, coin manipulation, things like that, used to be a big hobby of mine. So I don't want people to think that I might be faking something. And that's why, right now, I'm giving you full disclosure on this, and I'm making you a solemn promise. I swear I will never fake or manufacture anything. If it happens, it's real. And I promise you guys that. I promise you that. So, look forward to me updating One Man Hide and Seek in the next week and a half. Because, yeah, it's a doozy. It really is, guys. And I'm still struggling with what happened during the course of the ritual. And like I said, I'm still not sure what to make of it. So I implore you to please watch this when I upload it so you can give me your opinions as well, because it's been over a month and I'm still pretty shaken, to be truthful. and not much shakes me up. So there it is. And with all that being said, guys, until we meet again, keep the wind to your back, the moonlight on your face, and stay safe out there. I love you. I'm out.